One. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rebellious Wellness Over 50 podcast. Today, my guest is Christina Eanes. You're going to love this background and the stuff we're going to talk about. How about productivity from an energy standpoint? Now, that is a unique twist. Christina, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Thanks for being here. I have to tell the listeners a little bit about your background. It's fascinating to me because the only thing I know about the FBI is TV. But Christina was in the California Police Department and the FBI in the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program. That sounds really scary.
It was actually very fun work.
Was it?
Well, maybe the topic wasn't as fun, but it was a very fulfilling work.
Yeah, interesting. And you worked in the FBI's leadership development program and you trained thousands of leaders. You advanced to senior management within the FBI all before turning 40. And as you call yourself a super achiever, I would have to say that sounds like a super achiever kind of thing.
Thank you.
Well, Christine, we met, who knows how, but I wanted to have her on my podcast because there's this, everything about your take is unique to me. So productivity from an energy standpoint, life is like an escape room. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And your podcast, Quit Bleeping Around, which I just love the name of that. Those are the title of 3 books: Quit Bleeping Around, Life is an Escape Room, and The Secret to Super Productivity. So they always say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
Yes.
You've done an awful lot in your short life, and you've done 3 books on top of it all. You also have children, I remember.
Yes, they are mid-20s now.
Oh gosh. And
yeah,
how do you look so young?
Well, I did have them when I was young.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Early 20s. So.
All right. It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's interesting. My friend's mom just died at 99.
Oh, wow.
Her brother is 70. And there were times when friends would invite him to go out and do something. He's like, no, I have to go visit my mother. They're like, you could just tell us the truth if you don't want to visit, because they couldn't believe that somebody at 70 would have a mother at 99, but she had him when she was young, right? 20.
Yep.
So yeah, it's funny. Okay, let's get down to life is an escape room. That fascinates me. Some of the points that you have on your media site are how the awareness of one's perception, how it can become an obstacle to achieving a goal. I think maybe from what I'm hearing is there's too much emphasis on the awareness of what's going on around you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's so many different lessons in escape rooms in regards to perception. But the main one is, and I could tell a little story in relation to that, is you figure out that your perception is your reality, right? The story that you create about things is how you experience life. You want to share it when we share a little story?
Please.
Okay, so this one I have permission because my husband laughs at himself now to share this. But so we go on escapecations, which means we'll choose an area that has a bunch of escape rooms and travel to it and do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a day. Yeah.
Wow.
Throughout the world. We've been sticking mostly to the US the past couple of years. But this one in particular is actually right before the lockdown happened last year. We were at a location and I was excited because we were doing a room with a live actor in it, which was actually playing an undead zombie.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I can't remember what his name was, like Barry the zombie. But I was excited because I've heard of escape rooms before with zombies in them, and then they're chained. And after a period of time, the chain lets up, right? So and if you're touched, you're in trouble. Well, this one would be roaming freely throughout the escape room. And so I was excited, new experience, right? Novel. We've done so many, over 500 rooms at this point. So a new experience. I was very closely listening to the game master, who's the person that guides you through the experience. And she said, while the zombie will be going throughout the room and maybe rattling the walls and chains and stuff, he can't actually come after you until you locate the Nerf guns. My husband did not hear that. So I enter this experience thinking, oh man, this is going to be fun. I can mess with the zombie until we find those Nerf guns. He went into the escape room with the mindset, the perception of, there's a zombie roaming freely in these rooms and he can get me. So we actually started up this experience split up in two different really dark rooms. And at one point the zombie came and like jangled the wall, and I pretended like I was in the bathroom. I said, "I'll be out in a minute," because I'm having fun with the zombie. But I heard him over our walkie-talkie. He was getting nervous. His voice was wavering. And I even heard at one point the game master said, "Sir, please don't lock that gate. That's a health and safety issue." He was actually trying to lock a gate after he got through it so the zombie couldn't get to him.
Oh, wow.
So I asked him after, well, what we actually came into the third room about halfway through the experience. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "The zombie's after me." So he ended up getting really nervous as he was trying to do the puzzles. It was hard for him to concentrate, always looking over his shoulder. So we did get out. We did not get attacked by the zombie. He was a slow moving zombie. He was not a World War Z zombie. But once we left, that was the first experience of the day. I was refreshed. I was excited. I was ready to hit that next experience because I had gone in with the mindset, hey, this is a cool new experience and we're going to have fun with it. He went in with, there's a zombie after me. So he was exhausted
Oh.
when we got out of there, because that was his experience. It wasn't as pleasant for him. So that's kind of in your face about how we create our own realities and how we experience life.
That's a great visuals. I mean, the story has so many visuals because we often, especially in the coaching world, say we create our own reality, but I think
Yep.
it stays in the woo cloudiness of
Yep.
theory for a lot of people. But yeah, that's a really great story.
Yeah, and that's what escape rooms help us do. And there's so many other perception things because they actually have puzzles and experiences meant to mess with your perception. But that's the one that comes to mind that is very visceral in the whole experience.
Yeah. So tell me about the relationship first idea and using this intention as a basis for communication.
Oh, I love that you asked that. So we run into all different types of folks in the escape room world. And I have found, and I've taken teams through escape rooms, and I have found, again, it's that perception that you're walking in that room with. There's others that it'll be, we're getting out of this room, we're going to beat it, we're going to beat the time. And then when they walk into the room with a perception such as that, what happens? If things go wrong, we get agitated, we get upset. People snap at each other. Whole things. I'm sure the game masters watching these can share lots of different experiences that they observe. But what we set in the beginning, and we actually have a 97% escape rate, so it's a very successful set, is what do we want to experience when we go into these rooms? And it's relationship first. It's for us to enjoy our time together. This is how we love to spend quality time together. We enjoy working together as a team. So anytime any of us kind of forgets that, the other one will remember, really let them remember that we're here to have fun. We get out, that's great. But when you walk in with relationship first, it really changes how you communicate with each other, the level of stress in the room, right? And realizing that we're here to get through this together. It just creates more collaboration too.
Would you say that that just sounds like everyday life? If we don't have an
Yes.
intention, especially in our close relationships, to enjoy life, navigate in a certain way, decide to disagree in a certain way, like it sounds like we should plan more than many of us do.
Yes. And that's actually what I bring into workshops is, okay, we're about to complete this activity together. And then of course we can relate it to personal or professional goals. We're going to complete this activity together. What's our main goal? Is it to accomplish, right, the thing, or is it to make sure that I digress. So one of the things that we used to teach in the FBI before we opened up the leadership development program is, okay, so you accomplish the mission, but is there scorched earth and burned bodies in your path? Or do you have a team that's motivated and ready to go and move forward on the next thing? So whether it's your home team at home or it's a colleagues at work, right? It's focusing on that relationship first, and escape rooms help you practice that.
I've only been in 2 escape rooms. Both were part of team building exercises. And let me just say that there was more of the snapping and you don't get it. And I'm done with this. I'm leaving. That's what team building exercises is so interesting, how they bring up us, like our personality, just when we're stressed in that way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to be a team.
Unless we go in with intention to work on
Right, and
something.
that the intention for us, the intention for the leaders of the group, I was actually a coach with the program, but I was playing as a participant, was to see what we would experience. They didn't
Yeah.
say you're working as a team. They just said, here's a fun night out. Let's do this. And boy, was it not fun. Like,
Oh,
well, it was fun, but for me, I'm one of these people that I get very frustrated if I can't figure out the puzzle because
yeah.
I love puzzles and I'm the one that likes to undo knots and these little
Oh,
thin
there you
tiny
go.
necklaces. But when you're with other people and they have to also play a role, anyway, it was great. And I learned a ton and took away
Yeah.
from that, how to interact with people differently, bring out their strengths, not get so frustrated with my weaknesses, etc.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's great for emotional intelligence too, like you just mentioned, right?
yeah,
How to notice and work through the frustration or
yeah.
the nervousness or whatever pops up.
So something as an FBI, when you were working, but I'm sure this carries through to your life, when do you let yourself off and say, oh, I'm just learning, or I'm being flexible to let go of this moment? And when do you stick with it? Or how do you stick with something intentional when it seems like, oh, I should just let go?
Ah, yeah, good question. So I'm all about growth mindset and I teach it, right? So we can learn from every opportunity. So if I do choose to give up, what am I learning from this opportunity? If I do choose to go forward with it, what am I learning for this opportunity? But basically, I set my intention before anything personal or professional life, before I go into that.
Mhm,
And I make sure that I'm constantly meeting that intention. So maybe, so work related, I only look for work that brings fulfillment, to
mhm,
me. I'm not going to go through with something that doesn't bring fulfillment. So I guess another gauge then would be emotions,
mhm.
and not the oh, I just don't want to do it, I'm being lazy emotion, but
Right.
no, this isn't fulfilling, this isn't
Yeah.
something I want to move forward with.
Yeah. And I think I would say that becomes more important as we get older.
Yes.
I can see the finish line more than I can see the beginning, the start line. And how do I want to feel in these
Yeah.
days? What kind of work do I love to work. I love the work that I do. But I recently just gave a client back their project because their communication style and work style was very different than mine. And I thought, you know what? I'm not leaving them in the lurch. I wouldn't do that to a client, but I'm also not getting what I need to do the work for them the way that I want to do it. So,
Yeah. Oh,
and
I love that you say that, because since a young age, and it was well before the FBI, but and it's not that I've had a lot of death in my life, but I've been very aware of death. And so I've been very focused on, okay, nothing today is taken for granted.
mm,
It could be my last day. It could be the people around me last day. So that's really helped me put my priorities in perspective throughout my whole life. And I
mhm.
think a lot of people during the last couple of years or year and a half have also realized what's a priority in life, what's more fulfilling, and what's really important, if
Yes,
they hadn't already.
I was speaking with a friend yesterday who's a coach, and she's more connected to the online coaching world than I, but a group of her peers were saying they've gotten many, many more calls from women who are saying, I just realized that if this is all there is, this is not enough for me, or this is not the way I want this to be, really just over the past 10, 12, 14 months.
Yeah, a
And
lot of realizations.
exactly. And a lot of new opportunity, a lot of excitement or enthusiasm, but I know that it can be scary in the present moment when you don't know what to do and how to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, then we're going to move into productivity, which is a word. It's funny. I was talking to the same woman yesterday, and she said, there's this woman and she's teaching productivity, and she offered to let me into the course for free. And I just thought, oh, productivity. Who wants to learn about that? And is this an age thing, or is this that it sounds hard? And I think what it is, it sounds hard.
Yeah,
Can you make it not so hard for us to be more productive?
sure.
Okay.
So the secret to super productivity is all about managing your energy, not your time. Because we
Oh,
can't be productive for 24 hours a day, nor would we want to.
no.
Right? So the limiting factor is our energy levels.
Okay.
And when I was trying to look at what I was trying to think about, what am I going to write for my second book? What comes natural to me that maybe doesn't so much for others? And I realized that I'm able to do so much more, pack so much more living in, right? So that's a great way of being productive,
Yes.
is packing more living in, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I realized that I naturally manage my energy, not my time. And so I put a system around it. And it's a 3-step system. You can use it either in extreme detail for those people that really like the details and likes to put numbers on things, to very high level, just more of an intuitive way. So the first part is know yourself. So know your natural energy fluctuations throughout the day. And I actually have 4 different levels that are very subjective. The first one is, well, level 4, super productivity. And that's where nothing can get in your way. You are full of energy. You are going through things quickly. Level 3 is productive. You're getting stuff done, but you're not like just bursting with enthusiasm and energy. Level 2 is meh. I can't think of a better term for it, but it's like meh.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
yeah, I can do things, but I don't want to think about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to involve my thought process. And then level 1 is basically zombie mode. You can stare at Netflix, right? Binge watch a show or something, but there's not much else going on. The
Yeah.
lights are on, but nobody's home.
You're
Right?
a
So the
zombie.
different levels. Yeah. So knowing where you're at on any given day, and it changes.
Mhm.
And then in the book, there's actually a 2-week assessment period that you can do to see if you don't already have an
Oh,
awareness of it.
cool.
Yeah. So it's awareness of that on any given day, any given week, any given month, where your energy levels typically are. And it just makes you more self-aware of where you're at.
Mhm.
And then step 2 is know your ECs. And ECs are energy consumers and energy creators. So it's know those things, because I want people to start thinking about their energy as a bank account, right?
Mm.
So there's things that bring us energy and there's things that take away our energy. There's things that maybe bring us energy right away, but then take it away even more so after, like a candy bar.
I was just gonna say, a
Yeah.
Twinkie.
Yeah. Yep. So knowing energy creators would be things that bring us energy. The top 3 are self-care, like proper diet, nutrition, etc. They are individual to us, though. Positive feelings, those bring us energy. They create energy. And then what is it? Systems and routines. So the more that we can create systems and routines about what we're regularly doing, we're saving some of that energy for us.
Mm.
Then the energy consumers. Those are things that take away our energy. Top 1 is the what is it? The monkey mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So when we ruminate on something, or we're worrying about something, or we're anxious about something, we're constantly going through that negative self-talk. That's draining.
Mhm.
Along those lines, negative feelings. Not saying we shouldn't have them, but just understand that when we do have them and we need to work through them, it's going to take more of our energy. We'll be a little less productive during those periods of our lives, or
Mhm.
maybe not productive at all. And then the other thing is distractions. So
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of people think that they can multitask. They actually can. It's just their brain switching back and forth constantly, which takes up more energy. And
Mhm.
I'm one of those that continues to try to multitask. And
Oh,
then
me too.
I kick myself for doing it, because I end up just more exhausted than I would have been if I just unitasked or single tasked.
Unitask.
Yeah. So it's awareness of that. What brings you energy? What takes away energy? And then the third step is plan accordingly. So when we have control over our schedule, it's doing those level 4 tasks when you're in level 4 energy. That was a big lesson for me, because what happens when you are in super productive mode, you can knock out 20 of those little things on your task list.
Mhm.
But what instead, we need to focus on that one thing that's going to take that
Yeah.
energy. Yeah. So doing the appropriate level task when you're at that level of energy. When you can't control your own schedule, say for example, I'm super productive in the morning. I am okay a little bit after lunch, but then about after 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'm not worth anything. So sometimes I'll teach a workshop in the morning, teach a workshop in the afternoon, and I need to be on all day. So different ways you could maybe limit the energy consumers, like energy vampires, maybe not having that conversation with that person that completely drains your energy
Mm.
before you have to go into that, level 4 production mode. And then maximizing your energy creators. So maybe taking a quick walk out in fresh air before you have to go into that 3 p.m. meeting. Making sure that you're not having that candy bar when you hit that normal 2, 3 p.m. slump, instead having a more healthy snack that sustains you. So essentially, it's just being aware of your energy, knowing what takes it away, knowing what creates it, and then treating it as a daily budget that you can manipulate to a certain extent, right? We all have a typical
Yeah,
energy level, but you can still manipulate it enough to accomplish what you want during the day.
I love that. It's very clear, easy steps to follow. And there is quite a bit of science behind what you're saying about we have a finite amount of energy. And
Yeah.
I relate it to willpower. People say, I don't have any willpower anymore, or I don't have it at 4 o'clock. So then that's when I want to eat. That's because your willpower is tied to the energy you get,
Yes.
budget we're given. And as you're saying, use the energy we're given at the appropriate time. And especially for planning food, people that know that they're going to have cravings at a certain time of day maybe need to not be in the kitchen or near the,
Yeah.
something that occupies them. So it's related to all aspects of our lives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One way I've overcome that is just for me personally, is I make sure that I keep my energy flow even throughout the day. So I eat no matter what. I eat about every 2 to 3 hours, a healthy, for the most part, most days, right? A healthy snack to keep me going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Keep
that's
that blood
great that
sugar.
you know that about
Yeah.
yourself. There are certain people that in the old days, I used to believe in that, eat when you're hungry 6 times a day, whatever it would take.
Yeah.
For some people, they hear that information, they start doing it, and it has the opposite effect.
Yep.
So again, it's knowing yourself, which is a point that you made. We have to
Exactly.
really,
Step one, know
step
yourself.
one, exactly.
And
And
then get creative and experiment on what works best for you.
right. And how long would you say, if somebody's trying to figure this out, is this like a 2-week process? How long do they have to play with the energy in their
So
day?
it's not a one and done. It's
Okay.
constant awareness, right? Because our bodies change, especially like the age that I'm entering now, where the hormones are right, all the menopausal stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So it's just being aware of, constantly being aware of, not that you have to like be on top of it every second of it. It's just awareness. Ooh,
Mhm.
I had a snack about an hour ago in this particular snack, and I'm feeling kind of drained right now. So maybe I shouldn't do that tomorrow, or just
Mhm.
it's a constant evolution.
It is. And to let people know if they are trying a food elimination to see if something is bothering
Yes,
them, one day is not enough. What your
exactly.
point is makes absolute sense. I ate it today. I won't eat it tomorrow, but then also don't eat it for about 7 days to
Yeah,
get the actual result. Your body has to get rid of the thing and then adjust to not having it and then see how you feel. So
yeah,
definitely give things time. We want everything to happen like that.
yeah. There's no easy answer. It's just constant. Well, it's just like emotional intelligence, constantly, and perceptions, constantly managing our perceptions, our emotional intelligence, our energy, and just being on top of it, pivoting when we need to.
Yes. And that takes some discipline, I would have to say. It's
Yes.
easier to stay in the routine of like, well, I'm tired. I'm just going to have a snack at 4 and it's a candy bar. And, then I'm just going to, the whole day is shot because I had a bad meeting or a bad conversation.
Yeah.
I think we have to anticipate that there will be those days that, as well as we've planned and, our schedule gets upended, something does come into our world that is impactful and it causes us to, you know, to get rocked.
Yeah.
That's okay. We just have to make sure that we understand these things are going to happen. Don't let it derail the whole rest of the day. And would you
Exactly.
agree there's nothing wrong with calling the day a lot, like at 3 o'clock, if it's something happening, you're done, you're done. It's not
You're
like,
done.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's part of that. So negative feelings is an energy consumer, knowing that it's just going to take more of your energy. So take a day off, do whatever you need to do to work through it. I mean, don't sit in your emotions,
yeah,
right? Work through them,
yeah, feel
but
them.
give yourself the space to do that, because it's going to take more energy. It just is.
Absolutely. And I love the idea of like, I can see this thing called energy now that we're having this conversation and how much I have, maybe
Yeah.
a quart bottle and I've got half of it left.
Yep.
And then the bad conversation comes and it feels like it just depleted. Well, maybe it did. That's okay. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of naps.
Yes.
I
Yep.
don't
Those are
often
great
nap, but there are
recharge.
times when I just feel like all I want to do is close my eyes. And so I close my eyes.
So you do. Yeah.
Good.
Well, and that's the other thing about the system I appreciate, is it gives us permission to
Mm,
do that self-care, to make
yeah.
sure that we are, and I love you say that, because I envision like a gas tank gauge of me constantly, like it's right here and I'm watching it. Okay, are we down? Okay, let's see. Can we bring it up? Maybe a nap will bring it up. Maybe some carrots and a nice glass of water will bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Or if not, you know what? I'm just going to Netflix binge for the rest of the day and I'm going to be fine with it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned hormones. I am in the midst of taking another hormone class from a naturopathic doctor in the UK, and hormones really drive everything.
Yes, they do.
Whether we're going through menopause, menses, it doesn't matter. Our hormones, everything creates a hormonal cascade in the body.
Yep.
And it's fascinating, the pieces that I had missed really about the gut and things. But so as you are experiencing hormone fluctuations, thankfully I'm past all of that. I'm wondering, they used to take me by surprise. Everything's
Uh-huh.
fine, and suddenly I'm having a hot flash and I'm on stage speaking, or I'm,
Uh-huh.
conducting a class. Is there anything special that you do to just go with the flow or manage those?
I just notice it and
Yeah.
give myself permission and space to work through it. Like some days it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. Let me clear off my schedule, what I can clear off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just push through what I can't, what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just give myself permission to have the space and I love, I love flexibility in pivoting. So
I
I
was going
create
to
a,
ask you about flexibility.
yeah. So I create a schedule that allows for that. I don't lock myself in too much. Like I'm not going to set up a whole day of meetings, right? I
Mm-hmm.
leave space so that I can pivot when I need to.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
would say space for just daydreaming and thinking too. There's been a lot of conversation out in the world about how the importance of daydreaming.
Yes.
And I don't, as a kid, it would be like, what are you looking out the window for, Missy? Stop daydreaming. And I think that stays with us, and we don't daydream.
Yeah.
But do you think that that's an energy giver, creator?
I think it is. I mean, it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I live on a 30-story building and I just went up to the roof and just sat there and enjoyed the breeze for
Oh,
a good half hour so that I could focus on the afternoon work when I had to do it.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like you. I like to go outside. I'm fortunate. I can just walk outside. There's grass and trees and birds and
Yeah.
things, and that is absolutely restorative. It could be a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It just feels good, and my head is wherever it is. But I come back and I have to also tap back in. What was I doing before I went outside?
Yep. Well,
But I
in the
feel like
brain,
that's good.
oh yeah, oh it does, because the brain takes up, what is it, 20% of our daily,
A
the little
lot.
3-pound thing in our head takes up 20% of our daily metabolic energy. So the
Wow.
more breaks that we can give it, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more good food we can give it, it is as a
Yes.
consumer of energy, it's a
And
consumer
air.
of yes,
Yeah.
air, the
Oxygen,
right
food,
food, and
sleep.
oh gosh, sleep is when the brain cleans. I never knew this until about a year ago, that there's like a cleaning system, like a little cleaning crew that goes through
Eh,
the brain while we're sleeping and sweeps out all the
doing
debris.
all the maintenance.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Maintenance mode.
Maintenance mode. So I don't want to leave without talking about quit bleeping around quickly. What the heck does that mean?
So that actually came out of once my kids left the house or were in the process of leaving the house, I decided, okay, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur. It's time. I started out that way. And I wanted to come full circle back to it and just do what I want to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I was working with a coach and I was trying to think about, well, I wanted to write a book. I started out launching my own coaching business and now it's evolved into professional development. And I have coaches that go do coaching and trainings. We do workshops and stuff. But I was trying to conceptualize all that. And at one point, my coach says, quit blanking around using different terms, because that's what I respond to. And I went, that's it. That's my brand. So that was the beginning of, I've created it now where I can create several umbrellas, or I have an umbrella and I can create several little brands underneath that, like quit bleeping around, secret to super productivity, life is an escape room. But that was the first one. And so that was the first book on, hey, I need to quit bleeping around. I need to help others to quit bleeping around and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that was birthed.
I love that. And that just do it, whoever came up with that phrase for Nike, boy,
I know.
says it all. And it just is powerful.
Yes.
Because some days we have to stop telling the story, complaining about the universe or COVID or whatever, and just move forward.
That's it. take complete responsibility for how we experience life.
Oh, come on. Can't you blame somebody else just this once, Christina?
No, we could, sometimes I take a couple of hours for a little pity party, but other
Yeah.
than that, get right back to it.
I had a coach, and I don't know whether this is someone's bigger theory, but the coach told us that when we felt like we had to have a pity party, it was okay, but we had to put a timer on.
Yep.
And if it was a little one, you got 10 minutes. If it was big, like something bad happened, you could probably have a whole day.
Yeah.
But once it was done, you had to be ready to move forward. And it's
Yep.
interesting how that moved me out of a whole way of being.
Yeah.
Just hearing that, like, oh, I don't have to feel bad for the whole day.
Yeah.
I feel bad
Put
for
a timer on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful.
I think the longest one I've had, I gave myself 2.5 days. And that's when we first went on lockdown. Because I am really big on not having limits or any kind of, autonomy and independence is very important. So when we went on lockdown, I was livid. So I gave myself like 2.5 days. Okay, pity party, Netflix binge. And then like, okay, back to work. It's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I had waves of feeling in the beginning, I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really, I mean, we live in a place where there's not a lot of people. We don't have like neighbors right nearby. But going to the store and all of that stuff had to be figured out. So I think it was just really busy in the beginning with a lot of figuring.
Yeah.
And then it looked like it was never going to end. Then I went into sort of a slump and I would try to do some work, but I didn't give myself 2.5 days in the way that you're saying. But
Uh-huh.
I just thought today I can't, I'm so distracted. Then there was the energy of politics and the energy of the
Oh, all that. Yeah.
It's very talk about your distractions, one of the energy killers or whatever, how
Yep.
I say it. But then ultimately it occurred to me that if I just let that be my norm, I would wake up a year later with no business,
Yeah.
no relationships. And, yeah. So I think also we've both done, and many of the listeners, a lot of personal growth work.
Yeah.
And boy, does that come in handy at times like that.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. Well, Christina, do you have anything you want to leave our listeners with? This has been so informative.
Oh, lots of fun. Yeah. Let's see. Final piece of advice.
Yeah.
Keep going. Be self-aware of your energy levels, your emotions, your perception, how that's getting in your way, and quit bleeping around and just keep moving forward.
That's great. And your books can be found at your website. I'll put them on the page for the podcast. And your website is your name, Christina.
Yep, ChristinaEanes.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I just loved all of this, and I'm going to actually go buy your books now. So,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitely fun. And listeners, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you again next week. Bye, Christina. Thank you again.
Thank you.